Greetings. I was just about ready to upload a video when I happened upon a series that Jude, that's judedirect, had done about 2 years ago on being an empath. I absolutely love this series, and I do remember watching it a while back, and I meant to do a video response to it, and I completely forgot about it. So I wanted to do that now because the video that I was about to upload is on a related subject. So first I thought, let me respond to her and talk a little bit about what it is like for me to be an empath as well. In case you haven't seen the series, it is a series of, I think, 5 different videos, maybe 6. I think there's supposed to be perhaps 6, but I only can find 5. I'm not sure what happened to the other one. But anyway, she had come across a blog of some kind that listed 30 traits of being an empath, and it was so interesting. She went through those traits one by one and talked about how it related in her life. Well, I'm not going to repeat that because she's already done it and she does it so well, but I did want to respond because some of those traits really have affected me and really have applied to me as well, and I thought it would be fun to compare notes with her. So before I get into that, I did want to say that just like Jude, I did not know I was an empath until just maybe 10 years ago. And just like Jude, many of the traits of an empath that had manifested as part of my life resulted in some negative consequences. I've been struggling in a lot of areas with these issues that I did not know why. I did not have a clue why. So just like Jude, once we know what it is that's happening to us, then we can maybe talk about how we can deal with it. So anyway, I also want to say that I learned I was an empath from a witch. 10 years ago, my husband and I had gone into a shop in Long Beach looking for something we probably were having trouble finding, because I have to admit both of us are a little bit afraid of the proprietor of that shop. If you ever have seen Seinfeld, you might recall an episode of the Soup Nazi. Not so far from the Soup Nazi, the proprietor of this shop, particularly if you are so unfortunate as to put something on the glass display case. I'm not going to say any more. I still am scared to even think about what she had done to some of the people who were so unfortunate as to cross her in that way. At any rate, I walked into the shop that day. I was probably wearing amber. I know I was. I wear amber a lot, and she did mention to me that when I'm going to wear amber, I should wear jet as well, because she could tell that I was having a lot of issues, a lot of reactions to a lot of energies going on around me that perhaps I didn't understand, or I didn't know what was my energy and what was some other energies, I think is the way she put it. She offered me some advice, which was really very good advice. And I thought about it the whole way home. I thought about it a lot since. She was really right on with me. And I'm forever grateful for that, for her. I don't know that I've been back to the shop many times, but that's another story. Anyway, I wish her well. She did help me when I needed help. I don't want to go through the items, the traits one by one. As I said, Jude has already done that, and her story is much more interesting than mine. But I do want to address some of the things and compare notes with her a little bit. And any of you who are empaths as well, I recommend you look that up. On the link is, she gives the link from her channel. And let's see, I have to put my glasses on. Please excuse me. So, the first trait is perhaps the most important, and perhaps the one that most people identify with when they find out that they're an empath. Just like Jude, I know stuff. You know stuff. You don't know why you know it. You just know stuff, and it causes problems. It does cause problems, especially for me in the area of forming friendships, because I know when people are being truthful. I know when they are thinking what they're thinking very often, and it's usually something they don't want me to know they're thinking. I know whether they are deliberately manipulating a person or a situation. Unlike Jude, I do not usually speak up, call them out. Worse for me, perhaps, is I react to what they're thinking or feeling rather than what they've said, which causes me to interact with them differently than I should be. I mean, it's hard to explain, but it's been very uncomfortable, and it has caused me some problems. I'm often overwhelmed in public places. That is a very big point. And this is not about being afraid or being agoraphobic. It's not the same thing. Agoraphobic is the fear of open places or whatever. It's not the fear of crowds, or I'm not afraid of people. As a matter of fact, I'm very comfortable in front of crowds of people. I perform on stage all the time, and I'm quite comfortable in that situation. For me, though, it is, I guess it's all of the energies that are around me is overwhelming. For my husband, he long ago abandoned the idea of ever going to a shopping mall with me, particularly at the holidays. That's just never going to happen. I can count the number of times that he has just followed my lead, and we've abandoned a full shopping cart in the middle of Costco and walked out of the store. When I need to leave, I need to leave. And again, it is not fear of people, fear of the public. It is just, I can only describe it as being overstimulated. I do not pick up physical symptoms from others. Jude mentioned that she does, with the exception of, I think, something that's very common with women, the co-cycling that women do when they live in, the same house with people. My female roommates and I co-cycled. I had 3 daughters, and we co-cycled, at least the 2 older ones. That's sort of common. But what I do pick up from others, which is really, really embarrassing, is I pick up accents and I pick up speech patterns. And it comes across as mockery. And I am not mocking people. I'm not. I know they're going to feel like I am. I try not to mock, and yeah, I do. Next thing I'm speaking with a southern accent, and I don't mean to do it. Oh, it's horrifying. It's really horrifying. I do have a strong sensitivity to others' pain and discomfort. I don't, again, really feel it like Jude said she does, but for me, I sort of have learned how to avoid it. It's like I hide from it. I can't watch anything real suspenseful on TV. She can't watch it at all, or scary or painful. I can watch it, but I have to, again, hide somehow. And usually for me, it is hiding behind knitting. It is hiding behind a video game. It is hiding behind even a book. Physically, even if I'm watching, I have to put something in front of me, almost like a nervous speaker will put a podium, depend on that podium in front of them to sort of give a barricade, a little bit of a safety, a barricade between themselves and the audience. I will do that with my knitting or with my book. It's not a matter of having to have busy hands. I do like to have busy hands, but I can have still hands like the next person. So unless I'm watching a situation comedy or the cooking channel, I'll have something at hand that I can pull over and at the moment's notice and start to go. I laughed when I read the one that it said, others will want to offload their problems on you, even strangers. This happens to me all the time. It happens to me in parks. We're in a park. There's several hundred of us gathered there for an event, and people will come walking clear into the middle of the park just to talk to me. It happened to me in Germany. I don't speak German, but people were coming up to me all the time, telling me things, and it was hysterical. We have a joke when we go to any public place. I go into the restroom, the ladies' room. I come out usually with some story. I know stuff about people. See that man over there you see him, that man over there at the ATM machine? I could tell you stuff about that man. I was with his wife in the bathroom. This really happens to me all the time. So that's kind of funny. I do not suffer from a physical drain of energy, over fatigue. I'm not a person who really fatigues that easily. I thrive a little bit on not too much sleep. I have a high energy. It's not that I'm a really high energy person. It's that I don't like to waste time, so I like to be busy. I'd rather be doing something than sleeping, to be honest. Unless I'm having a really, good dream, which is sometimes I use my dreams as time to rehearse or time to work out problems. I'll do that in my dreams. But if I'm not having a dream that's really working for me, I'll get up. I'd much rather be up. But I do have emotional fatigue. It's not mental fatigue, like I can't think anymore, though I know people, that's a very common thing. Oh, I've been thinking, I can't think anymore, like after you do your income tax or whatever. This is emotional fatigue that I'm drained. I feel like I have given, or been taking this constant barrage of energy coming at me from other people, emotions coming out from around me, that I just shut down to a point of near apathy. It almost registers as coldness with me. And I'm not cold. I'm not a cold person. I'm empathetic. I am empathetic to people. I really care about people. I love people. I don't want anybody to suffer or hurt. I do feel for them, but I can only take so much, and I do have like a period of shutdown. I do have an addictive personality. I smoked for many, many years, I'm embarrassed to say. I love my wine. I love my food. I was totally addicted to caffeine and to diet soda for decades. But this also manifests with obsessions for me. I will become obsessed with hobbies, obsessed with interests, obsessed with art projects, obsessed with relationships. I have in the past. Like, I just will spend every minute of every day with a person, or I want to. Or, I sort of did that with, some people on YouTube that I would just fill up my day. I couldn't get enough of them, watching their videos. Like an obsession. It was like an obsession. Interesting to note, I also studied and drew away from both social work and nursing. Jude mentioned that she had done that. And I'm also not easily shocked or surprised. I was not surprised when man walked on the moon. Everybody was glued to their television set in 1967, including my boyfriend, now husband, and his family. I was with them, and they were amazed. To me, not such a big deal. Nothing is really a big deal. And as a matter of fact, now, I don't even, sort of on an unrelated note, a humorous note, I don't let my husband give me clues about Christmas presents or birthday presents. Don't give me a clue. I'll know what you're giving me. I like to be surprised. I like to try to be surprised like everybody else, but it's pretty hard to surprise me. Excuse me. Speaking of, I love my wine. I'm going to take a little sip. Yeah. I love nature. I love being outside, which is lovely now that I live in Southern California. But I lived in Pennsylvania for many years. Not so lovely for my loved ones there, because I would be in the middle of winter out with the windows down in the car. And even in California, we do have some cold, a few weeks of winter every year where it's cold and rainy. And let's eat in the patio, and people were like, it's raining. Can we not eat in the patio? Well, I just love to be outside. I'd rather be outside than in. And I have more animal friends than people friends. If anyone who knows me or follows me on Facebook, I'm sort of the crazy cat lady. Not by choice. They have chosen me. I always have dogs. I have bunnies living in my yard all the time. I have had all kinds of creatures attracted to me all the time. All the time. I am creative. I'm easily bored or distracted if I am not stimulated. I have never been able to find a conventional job, something that I can do. If I had to be in a cubicle, I would rather die. I admit it. I would live on the street. I would not. I can't even fathom the idea. I admire people who are able to do that. I do work in an office. I've never really had a job in an office, a professional job in an office. The closest I came to, I was a teacher in a classroom, which is a little different. But in an office, no. I do work for my husband now. He has a business. I do his books and things. But I can do them in my underwear. I don't, but, well, I might, but that's sort of private. But you understand, I do them in the privacy of my home. I can have a glass of wine if I feel like it. I can, do them day or night, any time of the day. I don't have anybody else dictating a schedule to me. That is really key for me to be productive. I just cannot fit into the modern world very well. I have to be stimulated. I have to have a job that stimulates me. I have to have something to do. I react best under pressure. I've always been one of these people who do best under pressure. I was always very good in school, but only if I just looked at it the day before. If I tried to start a project months and months ahead of it, a time when you're supposed to, I could not come up with any good ideas, but the day before, the week before, I come up with great ideas. I'm a really good listener. People like to tell me things. Often intimate details they would only tell a friend. I did mention the bathroom friends that I always would make. But this has been very confusing for me, and this has caused me a lot of pain. Because I have trouble distinguishing between friends and acquaintances. I think it's because I know so much and people tell me things, intimate details that you would normally only tell a friend, that I have trouble really identifying who is a real friend. And I tend to think of as acquaintances as friends. And that's been very, very hurtful. I remember having people move away and they had a goodbye party and we weren't even invited to the goodbye party. And I thought, these are our good friends. I didn't even know they were moving. And we didn't get an invitation to the party. And then I realized, I'm not their friend. I guess I wasn't their friends. I was just an acquaintance. That has been very painful for me. I do have an intolerance to narcissism. And even my identifying others as narcissistic causes me problems, particularly when we have mutual friends. I really like somebody and I think, I can't even, that I see these things in these people that other people don't see, and it's hard. It's difficult. It's to be in a social situation with people that other people find really fascinating, and I find, I abhor. I really abhor their narcissism. I am prone to mood swings. I have trouble pretending to have emotions I do not have. I wear it on my face. People can tell on my face how I feel. I find it really difficult to cover it. Some would call it immaturity, but for me it is. I feel, I just feel like I can't hide from people. I feel naked because they can see it on me. Even if I try to hide it, I'm civil. If I'm angry with somebody in public, I'm not going to call somebody out and yell at somebody in private and embarrass people, or in public and embarrass them. Or I know how to act. I do have manners, and I do have, good breeding, my mother would call it. I know how to act properly in public and how to treat people publicly. Like I said, I'm not one that's going to call people out on things. But I do wear my moods on my face. People can tell how I feel. So it makes me feel so naked. It makes me feel very vulnerable because sometimes I'm misunderstood. Sometimes I'm misunderstood because it's hard for me to keep my things private. So as a result, I tend to withdraw from people. I tend to disconnect from people in order to protect myself from being judged. Oh, that's very sad. I don't mean to be sad, but it's kind of sad. Amusingly, I do feel the days of the week. That's one. But I thought everybody sort of felt the days of the week. I don't know if this has to do with an empath. Who does not feel that excitement for the weekend on a Friday morning when you first wake up? You know it's Friday. You know it is. Or the dread in the pit of your stomach on a Sunday night. I think that goes back to maybe your childhood. For me, it goes back definitely to my teenage years when Sunday night meant separation from my boyfriend, or, you know, those kind of things. Friday night meant anticipation. I got to see my boyfriend. Or so I'm not sure about that. Anyway, I was particularly interested in the trait, in the empath trait of sensing the energy of food. According to the list, many are vegetarian. I'm not a vegetarian. Several of my children are vegetarians. But I do have some food issues, particularly around poultry. I've been trying very hard to eat it off the bone. I really could not bring myself to do that. Chicken particularly, it's a leg bone. I mean, leg looks like a leg bone. It's just really hard. Chicken meat feels like flesh. I don't like to touch it because it really feels like flesh. If I've had my hand inside a turkey at Thanksgiving, which I do, I don't usually eat it till leftovers. I'll eat the leftover turkey. But again, I'm not sure that has much to do with being an empath. But I do find it interesting that I do have the problems with the chicken, even though I sort of like chicken. But not with beef or other meats, because other meats too, you don't call a beef, you call it a steak or a chop or, you know, a meatball. You don't call it a thigh or a breast or a wing. You know, it's a little different. I'm not sure about that. Anyway, there was only one on the entire list that I absolutely no was not me. Not at all, no. And that was, will not choose to buy antiques, vintage, or secondhand. No. Now, I don't wear secondhand clothing. I won't go to the Goodwill and buy somebody else's clothes and wear them. No, I won't do that. But I love antiques. I sold them for years. I have a house full. I love the feel of having the history, to be able to touch the wood and feel the history of that table over the years. I have, like my great-grandfather's cane. He needed the cane. After he came back from the Civil War, he walked with a limp, and I still have that cane. I just love that I have that in my hand. My grandmother's knitting needles, I love using them. And even if people I don't know, if I know something was handmade, I like to make a story or feel a story about what it might have been like for the person, what kind of life that table might have had, sitting on that farmhouse porch. That to me is joy, brings joy to me. So, I don't know. That just didn't resonate with me at all. That's the one out of 30 that no way resonated. Other than that, it was sort of cool. Now, there is one more that was on there that I saved for last, because this is the one that gave me, other than knowing, which I think is true of everybody, but this one, the last one, is one that has given me the most problems. And this is feeling others' emotions and taking them on as my own. And I think I mentioned that when the witch told me about it in her shop. She could tell. But this has... Now, I'm not talking about being empathetic. I'm talking about... I can't always tell what is my fear and somebody else's. What is my pain and somebody else's. Is the feeling in the pit of my stomach because something's going to happen to me, or is it something that's going to happen to the person beside me? Is somebody angry? I have found myself being angry. I'm angry. And then I thought, well, I'm not angry. Why am I so angry? I've picked up being angry from somebody around me who is angry. And it is manifesting within me. That has caused me a lot of problems. Now, for those that know me, you may have heard me in the past describe myself as being an empath, but not a very good one. Notice that I said in the past. Stay tuned, because that is the subject of my next video. I am Rebecca. Thank you for watching. I wish you blessings.